turning the page on literacy. Now, that will come into light a little bit more as we go through the event itself. But I wanted to just first of all mention everybody's name. We have Uma, we have Rita, we have Anuja, we have Supriya, and we have Mati. So let me give a little brief introduction to what we're going to do today. First of all, let's talk about literacy. Let's talk about what that actually means. You see, a lot of people, when they think about literacy, myself included, we think about reading books. We think about sitting there and reading in a class and thinking to ourselves, it's about books. It's about education. It's about sitting in front of a teacher and being told to read something and then maybe understand it a bit, maybe grow a little bit from what we understand from it, or maybe just read the words and get told what the teacher thinks about it. But that's not really literacy. Literacy is more about our personal understanding, our personal relationship, and our truth as to what we feel and believe about not just books that we read, but everything that we do. You see, for me, literacy is about understanding the world that we live in. It's about relationship that we build, the shared truth that we all have, and the relationship that that gives us, both to our family, as important as that most certainly is, but beyond that, into our community and the wider community of the world, because that's where literacy fits in. Whether it's literacy about education, or literacy about family time reading, or literacy about, I don't know, things to do with what happens in the world, things to do with how we feel about what's happening in the world, how we feel about relating to each other, and what we feel about how we would like the world to be, so that we can become truly literate in the areas that we need in our day-to-day lives, from youngsters, toddlers even, that we can read to and read with, through to youngsters and Gen Zs and adults, through to old age pensioners. Literacy is really the understanding of all people, the continuing desire to understand our world that we live in, and to be able to make that into what we all should and want to benefit from. So in many respects, that's what we're going to cover this evening. We have many experts from different fields, and we really wanted to underscore the value of what this means to us, what it means to people, and really a little bit of a focus on maybe children in the first instance, about family time, about relationship to our children, about our future, because without getting carried away with cliches, the children are our future. And if we don't learn to appreciate and relate to them more, then what future is there for them and for us from a selfish point of view? So whatever your interest is, whatever you are wanting to experience in our world, that comes down to your understanding, your knowledge, your truth, and your relationship, both family and community. So, without a moment of hesitation, I'm going to press the magic button that will drive us through our slides and introduce our wonderful team members as we give a little discussion about the various aspects of literacy. Thank you.
A book in hand is a light to knowledge. A book in hand is a light in life. So that's the motto of Kudos Miracles Literacy Event today. As we know, ladies and gentlemen, that we all are talking about today education. Education is knowledge, education is power. But how this education has grown up, from where it has come, from where it arises, how it's born. And that you can say the knowledge. Literacy is the key that unlocks, that opens the door of knowledge, that opens the door of freedom, that opens the door of mindfulness, and of course, your knowledge, because knowledge never goes in vain. Now, as we will see the records of 21% adults in the USA read below. So these all are records, but the most important thing in life is you have to create a lot of interest, a lot of light in your students, in your children, so that they should have inquisitiveness to know about the characters of the story of a book. And there and then start how to move in life, what are the progress in life. And this all can be done, a book in a light, a book in a hand, and that hand says, read, read, read till you grasp the knowledge. We all have seen in the past or records, you can see even in your slide, 42 million adults can read past the 5th grade level. 50% of adults can read a book written at an 8th grade level. So this is the point, ladies and gentlemen. This is the point where, as a parent, as a teacher, we have to create awareness. We have to create interest. And we ourselves should read a book so that our kids can follow us as a role model. So that's all about not the literacy. So let's take a deep dive in my next slide and move on. Yeah. As I said earlier, people force students, read a book. Why you're not reading? Why you're not increasing your vocabulary? Why you're not increasing your speech? But is that enough? No. They will lose interest. The more you force, the more they will lose interest. Now, as a parent, as a teacher, what we should follow? We should follow a simple rule, that is, lit the lamp with your own hand. So, suppose this is a book, and if I say, mind-blowing story. So, this character was Joe, who was running after his miraculous friends. Definitely, I have created a spark in my onlookers, in my the people who are watching me, or you can say the students or the kid. And he or she should ask, who was Joe? What's the stories about? Who is the writer? These kind of things, only you can take the power to create interest. And ladies and gentlemen, always remember, you are the creator of your own destiny. And similarly, you are the creator who can produce a lot of interest. And when you produce and present a simple thing into a marvelous and a very interesting manner, then that demographic area which you are saying, or the records, 13% droppage will convert into 100% people start taking interest in reading a book. So be a role model, be a good presenter, and of course, you will create wonders in literacy. So that's all in my part, crisp and short. Hope you agree with my point.
I'm going to add just a tiny bit. That is so phenomenal, everything you said. When I sent the slides in originally to Matt, I was absolutely befuddled at this first statistic in particular, and I think it's pretty accurate. So what happens between our toddlers who love reading and can't wait to be in books? What bothers me is that by age 9, 42%, that's already low to me. That's already a huge drop from the children who can't wait to get their hands on the books. So when we look at by age 13, so it's not a question of whether it's social stuff going on. We have a lot of excuses, but the reality is this is something we want to work on. So everything you said was phenomenal. The evidence is so overwhelming about read alouds. So we did start with the concept of read for fun, although we're going to make it evidently clear that literacy is everything. It's financial, it's functional, it's reading environmental print, etc. But I start with read for fun because we want to get children used to the fact that it's fun. It's not a question of buying in. They've got to have some relevance or meaning in their life that they want to be reading with us. And so by doing read alouds at home or wherever we are with the children in our life, it makes a huge difference with what they do further on with all sorts of reading.
Key takeaways. This is something very important, right? These 6 items here are very important. Like if we look at number 1, recognize new words. How can we do that, right? Some ways that we can do that is by doing flashcards, or when you're reading a book on the page, look at the words that are new to you, right? There are some words on there you have never heard of. Write them down on the flashcard, and you're able to remember them for next time. Or play games, right? Bingo, Scrabble, all these games are engaging, will help you out. Like, for example, also basic challenges or reading errors, right? Acknowledge those, right? Because we all make mistakes, and we're able to correct our mistakes. That's a good part. Supriya, do you want to speak on those?
Yes, and I absolutely agree with my co-host Omar, who said right away. Now, key takeaways, very, very important. What we are absorbing, what we are taking in return. And when you're taking in return, you're giving that energy out. So when you're reading a book, you are not only connecting yourself with the book, rather you are connecting with the knowledge, with the power, with the new words, with the vocabulary, with fluency. And what are the basic errors? Because it's very easy to identify the gaps, but 100%, if you are not filling the gap, you are not doing any progress in your life. So when you are reading a book, I would like to advise, take a marker, write up or underline the words which you don't know the meaning, and then later on, instantly, you have to find, because next time, later on, never comes in life. So keep a dictionary or your Google on, keep that and take care of your reading errors. And of course, your phonics, your read fluency, your vocabulary, your spelling practice makes a lot of improvement when you are reading a book, or you can say your key takeaways. And the last but not the least, what Omar said, I truly agree. Your confidence level, when you are reading a book, when you are doing a things, you can do wonders in your life. So make your confidence, make your, all the happy boost things in your life by reading a book, by connecting a book, by taking the key takeaways, and by recognizing yourself as a powerful reader. So, yeah.
Amazing.
The next
I would
part,
like to add also that, very good points also, right? So in terms of vocabulary and spelling, do practice vocabulary and spelling with your family as a quiz, as a practice. That's something that you can do instead of using your phone or playing an electronic device. That would be something to boost your vocabulary, right? Look up a new word, use it in a different sentence as an activity. That would be something good. And then boost your confidence. That would help you. How about summarize, right? Summarize the passage. You read a page. What is it about, right? That's something that's very important. And yeah, those are some points I wanted to add on that. Building confidence. These are all good, great points there. Awesome.
Exactly, Omar. And also you will have a feeling, inner feeling will come. Yes, I know this. And when you say, yes, I know this, automatically your self-esteem boost up, your confidence level will boost up. So that's great point, Omar. I truly agree with you.
I agree also, if students are building their skills, they will be building their confidence. It goes together.
Absolutely. Another thing that came to my mind, this is an interesting topic, because there's 6 points, they're all important. How about like bedtime stories or reading corners, stuff like that. So make it a fun experience from what you read there, right? So let's say you're reading about going to a lake or something. Go to a lake and then you can experience that, you know. So that's another key takeaway. Thank you.
I get the pleasure of explaining about this next wonderful topic, which is extremely exciting for me and comes down to things like excitement and confidence and inspiration and the opportunity to do things with our youngsters, our children, our family members, our friends' kids, whoever it might be, so that then we can enjoy and think outside of the box a little bit. Except I'm going to talk a little bit about thinking outside of the book forward. I think really a lot of what we try to wish to inspire amongst our young people is to, number one, give them somewhere safe and somewhere fun and relatable, maybe a book fort in the traditional sense, like a little tent in the living room, a little space underneath the table in the dining room, a little place in the backyard where we can pitch a little tent and maybe we can disappear into there, into a world of imagination and excitement for those youngsters, so that then we can really bring to life the knowledge, the understanding, the comprehension, and just the fun of being able to spend time together, interact, and to learn some stuff. And we can learn from those young kids, even the littlest ones, in many ways. It's essential to understand that youngsters are very fundamental in some of what they actually transfer into adults. And if you observe them, then you can understand what the important things in life are all about. How just the connection to them, how holding their hand or sitting them on your lap as you read inside of that book for can lead to really some of the most enjoyable experiences of our lives as we relate to those people in our families and beyond. But
I'm going to add this. I'm sorry, I thought you were winding down. Okay.
No, just one minute. I just want to explain about thinking outside of the book fort.
Okay.
So, for me, the book fort is something rudimentary. It's something essential. It's something that we all have a very specific idea because we, in some ways, most of us, experienced having a book fort when we were little. But let's think about thinking outside of the box, thinking outside of the book fort, and how that leads to imagination and expanding those youngsters' minds into some critical thinking and some further adventures, some realization that a book fort is not just a space inside of our home, but it could be that we go out for a picnic and maybe the rain comes during that picnic, but maybe we're sat inside the car whilst we're chomping down on a couple of wonderful snacks and think to ourselves, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity to start a little book fort outside of the home. This is a little opportunity to understand some literacy about things that we see in the outside world as we do that. Maybe even if we think about a different journey, maybe out into an airplane or on a boat or a train. We think about what we can do to pass on some knowledge and extract some knowledge from those youngsters. And think about what they think about the world, and to think outside of what we traditionally think is us teaching children. In many ways we do, but in many ways there is so much to learn from the innocence and the direct relationship between them and us. And by observing what they do and how they interact with us, and the excitement and imagination that they can bring, we can really understand how to change the world and make the world a better place for all of us. Rita.
just one real quick thing then. Book fort is almost a metaphor for our reading life. We are looking at establishing a culture of reading and learning in the home, wherever we may be. with Book Fort, it could also be that we are climbing under the blanket with our child. That became a Book Fort. We could be reading in a wading pool outside, or a teepee, or in a tree, or under a tree. We can do a teddy bear picnic. There's no end to the activities. So I'm adding to your notion about imagination with some concrete things that they can actually do. A nook anywhere that you can find just a tiny spot that you can be reading in, or the child can be reading in, depending on this level. But Book Fort, for me, is a metaphor for the reading life.
What book did you read to a child today? Well, first of all, I don't have children, but I have the privilege to be able to publish books for children. So I know somewhere, somehow, someone is reading those very special words. But I want to emphasize that I didn't have anyone to read me when I was little. And I so craved it. When I was in school, that was the only time people read to me. But I think it's an essential part of life, and it strengthens the bond with you identifying what you love, what you like, what you want, what you dream, and it helps protect you and feel seen and heard, and it builds imagination, like Matt says, and curiosity. You investigate, you want to find out more details. So it kind of motivates you to do more. In one way, shape, or form, you're going to set yourself out to, oh, I don't know this word, I want to know. And then you feel empowered because you felt like you accomplished something. As a kid, nothing feels better than to be recognized for accomplishing something. So you develop that confidence, you develop that resilience because you want to do better. You want to investigate the world, you want to investigate cultures, everything. It's just like it opens up a box of treasures that you didn't know existed. And as a kid, if you're steered in the right direction with the right treasures and the right environment, then you're gonna be a teacher. You're gonna experience something that makes you and moves you to be inspiring to others, and for those to be inspiring more. So it's just, read your child a book. And even if you don't have children, read them to them. I have a kid in Africa reading books that I'm published. He printed out the books and he goes to the poor people and reads the books. That is the best feeling in the world, because if I'm not reading it to the child directly, someone else is representing the very thoughts I want a child to recognize. So thank you, Rita, for having this. We need more of it.
We're looking at the culture of reading. It's the culture of reading. And that slide called to me with the idea that we need to start a routine. Because if we're not in a routine where you might have, if it's a little, we're probably using a board book, okay? And no matter what, we're still looking at the cover, we're looking at the back, we're making predictions what it might be about, and we're doing that at all age groups. We're also looking at interest. I can have a pile of books there and let the child self-select if we think that the book is too hard for the child, and I don't like the word hard. It's really about interest, and we can scaffold or make it work. But the notion is that every day, or as close as possible to every day, that we do family time reading, we find a time, even if it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15, we are modeling. They're watching our eyes move, they're tracking with us. And more than anything, it is the closeness, the bonding. That reading is wonderful, and we will have it for the rest of our life. So it was beautiful.
Yeah, I do agree with Marty. Yeah, she said very true. What book did you read to a child today? So there's a lot of, inquisitiveness, a lot of depth is there. It's not only connect you with your child, or a parent to a child, or a teacher to a child. Rather, it's connecting your knowledge and your bonding, your motor skills. And when you start reading a book as a role model, your child is also going to read the same thing. And you are going to connect perfectly with your phonics, with your reading skills. And of course, you are going to create a lot of interest so that your child will read automatically and you need not to push the next time. Yes, Omar, yeah.
I wanted to add also, I want to challenge the people who are watching. Put me a book that you read to your child or something that you've read. PM me or PM any of us today. Give us the book. We want to know. If you listen to this, give us the book that you're going to be reading today or this weekend.
Wow.
That's all.
That's great. Input by Omar. Yeah.
And adding, after you do read the book, and it really doesn't matter the age, I keep saying level, because obviously what I'm going to do with a toddler is going to be different than when I'm sitting with a junior high student and I'm modeling. If I pick up the phone, chances are they're going to pick up a phone. If I pick up a book or my Kindle, chances are better they're going to be doing that. But after they read the story, then you can start with basic story grammar. Who is it about? Did you like the book? What do you think about the book? Is this a book you would recommend to someone else? Why or why not? Who was the main character? Did you relate to something? So we can do some basic questions about the setting, etc. See if we matched our predictions. But again, it would match the level that we're working with. But no matter what, it's simple to say, what book did you read to your child today, with the notion that it's so much fun and we can do so much else. It's kind of like sneaky teaching in there. The modeling, though, that we keep bringing up is the most important thing.
I have kind of a comment to ask a question. So would it be different for a kid to read from a book compared to like a tablet? Rita, what would you say? Would you say
reading is
from a book than a tablet or a nook or whatever they call it? Yeah. I personally think it's better from a book. What do you think?
Well, with littles, especially if it's not a board book, I'm teaching them how not to rip the book pages. We'll do some book repair if we need to with scotch tape. That's part of it, book handling, and the mechanics of reading, getting our eyes to focus together and to be able to read more print. The first thing that I do is tell everybody hold the book up at about a 45-degree angle. If they're reading on a Mac or an iPad or whatever, they can have it tilted up, but you see more print. And I'm working on not only the basic reading skills, but the notion we can keep on. We all need a reading improvement goal from littlest all the way through adulthood. And so I would say for littlest, I would prefer them to be reading on a book. And if need be, I'm not that much of a purist, then give them their iPad or their Kindle. But to have it as a babysitter, not so much. That's not quite the same as sitting and doing a family time reading where we're on a one-on-one or as a whole family talking about a novel that we're reading as a family, a chapter at a time or a book at a time. We're also able to do cross-age, and some of this will come up again, cross-age reading, cross-age tutoring. We can do this with another family, like Marty brought up. We can do this over Zoom or a house party, and it's an old app that I really liked. I did it during the lockdown. So this is just a starter. And as Matt said, think out of the box. There's no end to what we can do with that simple question. What book did you read? If I'm reading Tiki Tiki Tembo no Sa Rembo Cherry Berry Rushi, I'll be working with syllables and I'll be clapping and stamping it. So if I'm reading Brown Bear, Brown Bear, Brown Bear, what did you see? I know that those basic books for littles need to have rhyme, rhythm, and predictable patterns. And then the children will want you to read it 500 times because they haven't memorized. And that's okay. So this is just like a starter. We could spend 10 hours just on this topic. But thank you. Everything everybody said was just fabulous. Thank you so much.
Yes, as truly true. As they say, reading is essential for those who seek to rise above the ordinary. Our brain doesn't care what we are reading or how we access it. Every word, student, we make sense of counts. Those words can come from printed books, digital texts, audiobooks, online articles, or environmental prints. They can be new books, old books, glossy magazines, video game manuals, movie captions, and everything in between. It all counts, everything counts. We become readers by reading. Kids also read. And we hear parents say all the time that it's very important to read to their kids. But why exactly is that? Reading to young children is an important way to help them build language skills. It exposes them to new words and ways of using language. It also helps them learn general information about the world to enhance their knowledge, which makes it easier for them to learn about new subjects once they get to school. Books also help children build empathy and learn how to handle challenging feelings. So the only way children become reader is by reading, reading, and reading. No matter where or how or why those words are available to understand, they all count. Even if they are accompanied by pictures searched for on the internet, listened to, or found in the most unexpected places, like the back of a cereal box, kind of reading that will support students, kids. Development is the most essential part. When they read, they actually do. It doesn't matter if they read a graphic novel or a back of a shampoo bottle, something scribble on it, or listen to a book as they eat a snack. So, as students and kids' reading skills abilities grow and change, they can challenge themselves to apply those skills to new reading contexts over time. The real world demands it. Yes, we have a vast amount of reading materials within our grasp nowadays, and our world today demands actively make sense of all sorts of types of textbooks, magazines, articles, visual media, social media feeds, and more. What do we more want? Why limit the kid of reading that counts? And when the real world demands we successfully read and understand all of it. So we can say and conclude as an educator, as a parent, we play a very prominent role in helping our students, our kids to see themselves as readers. So doing so begins by broadening our views of reading to include all kind of texts for all kind of readers. So thank you so much. Now over to Omar.
Awesome, awesome. I don't think I can ever go to her level there. That's amazing. At the PhD level there, I'll speak on that. So all I want to do is I challenge you guys, one of these items here, PM us, send us a message, a private message of what you read. Did you read a food label, a movie caption, a reading out loud, magazine, whatever it is, right? We always read something in 1 word, 2 words. I want to challenge everybody. PM up, okay? That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Children fall in love with books because of the memories created when they snuggle up and read someone they love. When a child reads with someone they love, they're not just learning the stories. They're building safety. They're building trust. They are building emotional strength, which we so desperately need to build in this world. Those small family moments are so worth it because that cuddle, that page turn, that's going to etch in the baby's mind or the child's mind or whoever and in their heart. They're never going to forget that. Even if they forgot what they read or whatever, that moment in time is what's important. A laughter, all the different emotions that come when you're reading and engaging whatever you're reading. That's why it's so healthy to read, because you get to live all the different things that come up in life, and you get to practice without applying it, to yourself. But you see how other people apply and you learn from that. And when the more you learn from others, the more you reflect on what you need to fix in your life. At least that's the way I've learned to do it. And it becomes the roots of resilience. Again, you teach that child that if you're loved, that's what matters. And that book is going to be associated, that activity is going to be associated with caring for someone and sharing with the world what they want other people to see.
Very true, Marty, very true. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is a psychological thing also, and a survey has been done. 99% of your personality, of your child personality, depends upon the childhood he or she had seen in the life. So very true, children fall in love with books because of the memories they created. So today's happy moments are tomorrow's happy memories. But today, traumatic moments are tomorrow's nightmare haunted for your kid. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you really want your child to be happy with a carefree life and lifelong, he or she should be happy, then a child must fall in love with books. Beautiful memories created, a family time. You know, family is the most important part, or is the part of your life which cannot be separated. A person who is having a family is a blessed and a boon person. So create family time, love stories, talk with your kids. Hey, what's that character? Hey, did you like the Jimmy character in that story? And this is not only a connection between your child or a book, but all your entire family members will sit, connect, talk, and connect heart to heart. So it's not about falling in love with the books, it's all falling in love with your memories, with your family, with your peers, and you will read and your child will read, because you are not only making a child to read, you are making a nation to read, because your child is tomorrow's future. So very true, Marty. I truly appreciate your points. So let's fall in love with the books. That's it.
Reading is a passport to countless adventures. Guess what? Reading is the only passport that doesn't expire, that doesn't require. It opens doors to places at your feet that you never reach physically. A single book can transport you across continents, cultures, and eras. I mean, it's a free travel zone. You can't argue with the fact that you can be around the world without moving and at the same time discover the beauty of all the different cultures that exist. It's reminding all of us that curiosity is a form of freedom, because you get to choose where you want to go look at. You get to choose who you want to learn about. You get to choose what works for you. So that is the freedom we want to retain, and we want to instill that in kids so that they know that I have the freedom to choose what I want to do, and I am responsible for what I choose. And it teaches them responsibility as well. So it's so many different aspects of reading that we don't realize. It's not just a book. It's not a bunch of papers. It's actually opening up your mind, your heart, and your soul.
I think of where the wild things are, and favorite books. I would bet most of us have a favorite book or favorite books. And the bottom line is this: reading takes us to new places that we may never go to. Reading offers us adventures with people who may be like us or people who may not be like us. It's an adventure. And reading is something that we can do anywhere. We can have a book with our child or ourselves standing in a line if you're waiting. You can have your Kindle or your iPad or whatever carrying with us. But the way I look at this is that reading takes us everywhere. So in this, it's not just an adventure for fun pleasure reading like what I'm reading on my Kindle right now or my other books. But reading also takes us into the world of functional print and environmental print, and we have other adventures. We might be studying nonfiction books and reading about Komodo dragons that we're doing lessons on with kids, or something else that's interesting to them when I find out what they're interested in and what they want to know and do. But for us, I want to make this last point. Reading is a stress reliever. There has been research that's saying, and again, I can't quantify it or qualify that it's accurate, but it said something like 66%, for example, of your stress will go away right away when you start to read. And I know I read before bed every night, and not everybody does or needs to. But for me, reading always de-stresses me. And it's also, if I'm with children, it's a button that turns me back on, and I go into my teacher principal mode where I'm like, oh boy. And that's the idea, that we don't have to physically travel right now. Reading is an adventure wherever we are.
When families gather to read, it's more than sharing stories. It's sharing values. It's sharing those dreams. It's that emotional traveling of everyone around you. It's a connection that we build, that we exchange. And when I think that the reading discussions are very good, because you have one book that can be interpreted in so many different ways. And I think that this applies to life. Like, someone will tell you something, somebody will go off and play telephone and completely twist whatever was said to a different version, because that's what they interpreted. So we need to learn to interpret. We also need to learn to understand why other people interpret what they do. So this is why it's not just the activity of spitting out words and the kids repeating. It's like watching those emotions develop and like the kids clicking in. Am I scared? Am I interested? Am I curious? It's just so many, it's a whole potpourri of things. So it deepens the trust, and it builds that memory of moments that matter in this kid's life, or the person, or the family. A family that grows in empathy, imagination, and again, resilience. Because when you learn to read and you learn to share what you read, you develop a set of values. You develop a set of virtues that you want others to understand what you're about, what interests you, what drives you to do more things. So if you learn that people have those little pieces of fuel going into their lives, you're going to discover your own. You're going to definitely discover your own. And stories become gentle teachers. They guide our hearts across generations.
We've touched upon a number of aspects of literacy as we've covered some of the basics and maybe in some regards some of the more deeper aspects of things. But as we come together, as we close this short event, we realize that what this is really about, what all of life is really about, is sharing connection and relationship and love, and trying to bring together our communities and our families to make our families and communities and the world beyond a much more better and prosperous place for each and every one of us. And that often starts with our relationships with our immediate family and friends. Maybe the children that we read to, maybe the books that we read for ourselves, maybe the discussions that we have in a taxi or at a coffee shop, maybe the very fundamental things that we all share in common that we can get from the books and the critical thinking and our shared truth as we try to navigate our way through this difficult and wonderful world at the same time, filled with opportunity and the realization that, yeah, life is difficult. Yeah, finding time to spend reading to our youngsters or to our loved ones, or even being able to think to ourselves, you know what, I just need to take a minute for myself. Maybe understanding who we are and taking a moment to realize our truth, to be able to critically think and spend some family time reading, whether that's our family with our children or our family with our elders or our family time just with ourselves, because we are just as important as those others in our families and our communities. But to realize that really the fundamental thing to life is our love and our friendship and our relationships to each other. And if we can come to that understanding and realize that that is really potentially what we want, I hope it is, then really we can start to make change by enabling our youngsters, as we move them into the future generations, to realize just how wonderful the world could be. Because we can move away from the way that things are now, which is incredibly difficult for many of us, and move to something far more beneficial and rewarding and filled with everything that we imagined when we were children. So I just want to wrap up by saying thank you very much to everybody who's written wonderful comments in the live event on LinkedIn, and to all of our panel for this wonderful event, and to share a little bit about what we're going to come to in the not too distant future and further into the future. We are going to be instigating some literacy events, and maybe a little bit like what Omar was saying about, please share about the books that you read to your children or that you've read recently. But what about this? Each year so far, Kudos Miracles has done a advent calendar of sorts, where we've shared some posts or some input from our various miraculous friends from all sorts of places around the world. Some people who celebrate Christmas, some people who don't. But what about this? What about if we got together, all of us, those who are listening here, and maybe some of our miraculous friends who are interested as well, and we can put together a little advent calendar of maybe some wonderful people from LinkedIn or from our wider community that want to share a little bit of reading to some youngsters. Share a Christmas story, or just a story about life in general or what they love, so that then we can really truly start to inspire our children and to share with each other the message of love, the realization that we are a community and that we wish to really change the world for the better. That might like something very big, like something pie in the sky. But miracles start with this. They start with a need, and I'm sure that we all agree, even if we look at those statistics earlier on, that the world has many needs, and children have need to read books and far beyond that. And then we move to belief. Miracles happen when we believe in really understanding that we can have a change and that things can be different. And then that comes from action. So like I say, and like Omar said, perhaps it's time that we shared a bit more, that we take a few more minutes and realize to ourselves that giving is the most important thing, not spending our time doing things like going on the internet or whatever that might be. And that's not that the internet is such a bad thing. It is a wonderful tool for many things. And in many respects, there's much to read there and much literacy there. But there's also this requirement to have the truth. And therein lays the action. It's not just to read something, but to go far beyond and to understand what that means for us, and whether it feels to us like the truth, or whether our truth feels like something much more organic and much more fundamental, something that's based upon love rather than perhaps some of the other messages that are out there on the internet or other places. So there'll be lots of exciting things coming on. I myself am currently in Africa still, and I am potentially going to be spending a little bit of time doing some literacy events with some younger children here. And we can maybe think about doing that in different places around the world. And we'll be doing various other things. Rita, would you like to share just maybe a couple of thoughts on some of the things that we'll be going forwards and doing?
In discussion with the team, but we're looking at possible competitions and classes, courses, mini lessons on how to actually teach phonics and basic skills through hands-on learning and through chants and song and lots of fun activities. So I don't want to give it away right now. Let's just say we're in planning stage, but things are going to happen.
Yes, ma'am. They certainly are.
I'm just thrilled that everybody was able to join this morning. And again, third's a charm. This was our event that we had to postpone. And so I'm just so happy that I'm here with you. And thank you all. This was spectacular commentary. And Matt, you did, as always.
So today, a reader, tomorrow, a leader, Rita. Exactly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's so.
When we say this is part two, like, so when we did part one, it was both of
Well,
us, and now we got
you and I
4 more
started.
people, right?
Yes. Well, you and I started this one last February. Actually, Omar and I did. It was a startlingly horrible event that we did because it was on test scores. And we wanted to make sure not to talk about struggling readers or test scores today. We are only optimistic. Challenging times, extraordinary opportunities. So we're only moving forward and up because the only way to go right now is up. And this is worldwide, not just United States. I keep putting it out. It's the literacy for all and worldwide reading. But again, literacy, it's financial literacy, it's economic literacy, it's health literacy, it's all kinds of things. But today we were focusing on what we can do grassroots right now, strategies we can do at home that are easy peasy, no cost. Can't beat that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all very much. And we look forward to seeing you all very soon. We continue to do our latte shows as well. The next one of those is on Monday at 3 p.m. UK time, I believe, Supriya.
Yes, exactly. We are going to witness an amazing guest on Monday. So stay tuned.
Wonderful. Thank you all very much
Oh.
for joining us.
Do I have
And
one
we
more
look forward to
second,
seeing you
Matt?
all.
Could I mention the blog? I forgot to mention the blog.
Yeah.
We did post the blog on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and the blog is absolutely overflowing with things that you can do at home right now, strategies, just the things that we've talked about. It's about creating a culture at home and amazing amount of strategies before, during, and after reading. So take a look at that blog link. If you haven't already read it, just skim through it and you'll get at least one great idea.
Yeah, I love that blog, and especially the parts that talk about family time reading. Very important for what we're trying to achieve with youngsters nowadays. So thank you all very much. Wonderful to have seen you and to have interacted with our team here today. Maybe going forwards, we will interact more with the wonderful people that we come across in the space and the community. Thank you all very much, and let's make miracles happen.
Bye-bye.
Bye.